What's going on, people? Yo, it's your boy Brilliant, man. We rocking out at another episode of Black Excellence. We here at Brilliant Media Film, man. You already know where we at, man. This topic for today, we're going to be discussing mystery, relevance, and stature. And what it means. And we're going to say it again. The topic for today is mystery, relevance, and stature. And the meaning behind it. And a lot of people, they don't understand what the three is. So today on Black Excellence, man, with your boy Bray and Azul, we're going to be covering that. So stay tuned. This shit on?
It took a lot for me to get here, I appreciate it. I know you mad cause a nigga made it. To everybody that stayed down and waited patient, I know you anxious to hear this music they callin' dangerous. Cause you stuck with them vivid pictures you never painted. Try to rearrange it and still couldn't explain it. It's tainted. I appreciate the guidance, even though that we was violent. And we love to let the
Alright, man, so the first thing that I want to do is I want to bring up something that everybody struggles with because we really don't even pay no mind to it. But it's something that affects us every single day, okay? And that's stature. Stature is something that pretty much we live by. We live by stature, okay? Our boss, somebody that we may look up to, somebody that we may respect. And in that sense, we look at them with a certain stature because we pretty much know that without that stature, who they are as a person and their characteristic, it'll probably become more different from our understanding. So we only look at them at a certain perspective of respecting them. So, and that's pretty much what stature is. We're giving them that certain amount of respect or a certain level of respect to where we have, when we look at these people, we see that they are in a position to have stature. And mystery is something that if we don't have mystery, we have nothing. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's like knowing a situation, knowing somebody, and knowing that a situation would be tomorrow. And when I say a situation would be tomorrow, I mean by saying that a situation would be unknowing. Like, that's if you knew somebody, or you can predict something that someone's doing or predict a situation that's going to unfold. It's kind of like, you know, it becomes boring because people, they know what to expect. You know what I mean? They know, you know, how to be able to see you coming. So anything that you're trying to, you know, it's kind of like you can't surprise that situation. You can't surprise that person. You know, a lot of people respect not knowing or the unknown. It kind of gives them a certain excitement, I guess, that it tends to make people want more. And it's only because they don't know. And that's what the mystery of the whole thing is. And I know it's kind of like, people's like, what? But it makes sense. It's like, once you can expect something from somebody, then you know what to expect. So it's like, if people can present a mystery in a sense of not understanding what the circumstance is and having to find out about the situation, or even having to do education or do research about the situation, then it becomes a little more interesting versus knowing the situation or knowing someone's coming. That's like somebody, you know, being predictable versus unpredictable. You know what I mean? You know if that person's going to, you know, do something, or that person's going to say something. It's like, you know what to expect from that person because they're so predictable. You know, they don't ever leave you with no type of mystery behind having what you're doing, meeting who they are. So, and that's mystery. And then relevance. Wow. So relevance is something that we all have wanted to gain at some form or some point of our life. And that's whether it's through acknowledgement, whether it's through people that don't understand who we are, whether it's through us being unbalanced, us having a certain type of ego, charismatic outlook about ourselves. It gives people that sense of growth to be able to judge who we are as a person. It gives them that growth. So meaning, what I mean by that is, what do you mean by give them that growth? It's pretty much like this. It's kind of like you hear somebody on the radio and their music might be playing, and to you, the song is not relevant at all. You don't even like the song. But after they've already played the song a good amount of times, the song starts to become relevant to you, to where you either start to hum the words, and it's kind of like you didn't even know the words, you didn't even learn the words, or at least think you didn't even acknowledge the words, but because of the song having a certain commitment to your ears, then that means that at that moment, what you're probably not wanting to understand becomes relevant. So at that point, now that person or that thing or that something that you're probably not wanting to acknowledge becomes so important that your brain starts to manipulate what the education is that it's learning. So now it actually stores who you are as a person into the membrane. So it starts to acknowledge things about you as a person. And that's without force. That's without you even wanting to have that perspective with that situation. That's just the universe. You know what I mean? And then they gain that relevance. So it's like putting it all together, mystery, relevance, and stature. How does that affect an everyday life? How does that affect everyday living? And it's because a lot of people, they try to use it all together in the same sense of understanding, when that's not at all what it was supposed to be used as. You understand what I'm saying? So mystery is what you have to understand. Relevance is what you gain. And stature is who you become. You know what I mean? So at that point, it's not nothing that nowadays people try to manipulate the system and saying that the way that they want to accurately manifest things or receive things in abundance is different from what today's education should be about what they want. So within that being said, it's like English terms. We can't understand mystery if we don't have mystery. We can't want stature if we don't know stature. And we can't gain relevance if there's nothing to be relevant about. So what we do is now we control what we feel like is balance. And being balanced, we all know, is the boringest thing in the world today for mankind. Like nobody wants to be balanced. Nobody wants to, have somebody that can control what their understanding of life and society is and what that can bring to the table. Nobody wants that. People want you to not expect when they're coming. They want you to not expect their greatness. They want you to not expect. So that way, once you actually achieve these things, or you actually, grow into these things, then people's understanding of who you are is at an all-time high. Because then at that point, they start to understand all the levels from the mystery of not knowing who you were, from the mystery of not understanding who you were, From the mystery of not knowing how you got to where you are. That's where the interest came in. And from that mystery, it actually allowed you to be able to, once again, store those things in your brain, right? Just like relevance. You were able to store those things in your brain to be able to create, which is manipulating, all right? To create your own judgments about a thing, person, or place. Because you don't even know these things. That's like having a favorite rapper or a favorite R&B artist. Now, we all know Michael Jackson is our hero. He's our hero. But we also know that Michael Jackson, right, lived his life as a mystery. We all knew that. As popular as he was, as millions of people that followed him, you know, and loved him, Michael Jackson lived his whole life as a mystery. He had stature and definitely had relevance. But he lived his life as a mystery. Nobody knew when Michael Jackson was going or coming. Never. Whenever he did anything or whenever he moved, and this is once again, this is not about Michael Jackson. I'm just using an example of, you know, just explaining what the difference is. Michael Jackson didn't know half of the people that knew him, but he knew that he had that stature enough to be relevant and understand that he had fans by the millions. So we were relevant, as we were more relevant to Michael Jackson than he was to us. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I believe that. I believe once you've climbed and elevated to a certain stature in your life, in your music or entertainment or anything that, you know, you succeed in, you have to respect the people that helped you elevate to the top. The people that stayed with you when you didn't understand your relevance. Because a lot of people that gain relevance, they don't understand their relevance or stature for that reason. And they use that in a sense of not wanting to portray it as it seems, but they actually use it as a certain power to manipulate people into wanting to do what they want them to do, okay? Or controlling a situation for what it is. English terms. People use their stature for the wrong reasons. Point blank. They utilize what they have and the stature that they have and the relevance that they have to do things we know every single day wrong. They don't do things accurately as they should. They don't do things that would affect and leave an impact on no situation. They want so much stature and relevance from us. We're so blinded in a sense of not wanting to understand our relevance that the people that's the mystery has more of an impact on our lives than us. Let me explain something to you. A lot of people spend their lives on social media, whether it's through YouTube, whether it's through TikTok, whether it's through Instagram, Facebook, or what have you. And a lot of people, they spend a lot of time on these social media sites trying to become relevant. I mean, every single day. By the thousands, the millions at this point. Cross countries, doing any and everything. Okay? My point is to not shoot anybody down or make anybody feel like whatever you're trying to achieve cannot be done, because that is false, and you can definitely achieve anything that you want to achieve. This video is also to not make anybody feel like them wanting to do anything to their perspective, go for it. By all means, go for it. What I am trying to do is enlighten you on and educate you as well on what mystery, relevance, and stature is. So, we spend so much time in putting our life on social media that we forget the mystery part of who we are. That's what makes us relevant. And because we're trying to be as unbalanced as possible, because that's what success is. Success is unbalanced gravity. Ooh. Yes. Success is unbalanced gravity. Once you've gained that and you've understood what that is, then you understand that being successful is unbalanced. Oh yeah. As I said earlier, the people that's successful, they step out the window. You know, they've jumped, you know, way past the turning mark of where you start from. And they've also elevated to the point that the understanding of society has accepted them for being someone that has altered the universe enough to unbalance the universe. So because of that, they need to gain, at that point, stature and relevance. They need that. Why they need that is because we've respected them for who they are. That's like somebody overweight, you know, not caring about being overweight, being so comfortable in their bodies that we've accepted them accepting them, that we've accepted them. That's crazy. That's crazy. People don't even pay attention to that. That we've accepted them accepting them. Now we accept them for accepting them. That's crazy. And when that happens at that point, relevance kicks in. Of course, it has to. It's inevitable. Relevance kicks in, and then stature at that point. You gain that. You gain that. See, what we don't look at in life today is the fact that whatever we want in life, the mystery is always going to be there, because that's how you unlock, unfold, and achieve. But what we don't understand is what's right here in front of our faces that we don't pay attention to every day. We have so many people that love thy neighbor, should I say it like that? And I mean love thy neighbor. And what I mean by love thy neighbor, I mean love your favorite singer or your favorite rapper or your favorite actress or actor. And I mean love them. And we idolize these people. Like we make them our idols. We make them so relevant and in our lives that we some of us go above and beyond to try to get these people to even follow us into wanting them to know who we are, that we become, and we know what that's called. A lot of people may call that a lot of different things, you know. But what I mean by that is where it's to the point that we've given these people so much relevance and stature that now we want it back. We want this back because we've given these people this much credibility and this much relevance that now we actually want it back. We want it back because we've gave them this much stature, and it's like, hey, you don't even understand that I love you. Like, I love you more than that person loves you, or I love you more than this person loves you. And because of that, like, you got to know this. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird, but it's true. And a lot of people you know, they're actually celebrities, and they're actually killed, you know, hurt, and which is definitely not a good situation at all. So if you know anybody that's doing that or attempting to do that, please stop them. Please notify someone, some type of authorities or anyone else, because it's not cool. As well as, you know, people committing suicide because of, you know, feeling like, on the other side of the platform, feeling like they've given these people so much stature and relevance that they have to end their own life because they're not acknowledged, or the people on the other side of the fence, which is the celebrities, don't acknowledge them. I don't know if you remember Slim Shady. He had a song, Stan. Stan was a great song, and big shout outs to Eminem. But he had a great song out named Stan, like some years back, man, and it was about a fan, and it was crazy because the song had so much relevance. People didn't really pay attention to it, but, you know, and once again, if you didn't hear it, man, Eminem, Stan, check it out. I have no sponsorships behind him. This is all love right here. I love Eminem. He's one of my favorite artists of all time. So yes, once again, if you ever get a chance to download the song or even check it out on YouTube, it's called Stan. It's by Eminem. It's a song from back in the day, which is so relevant today that we need to listen to it, okay? But yeah, so we characterize these people, which is these celebrities, as having to want to know who we are once we've given them so much relevance and stature. And it's inevitable because they're celebrities. They're our superheroes. You know what I mean? And we love them. So some people, they forget that it's just common nature to, and which is inevitable for us to actually grow, which I said earlier, mentally, we lock in the mystery part of who these people are, and we tend to gravitate toward it. We gravitate toward it. And we love it, man. We love it. We love the fact that we don't know, you know what I mean, what made this person who he is, or how did this person begin to be who he is or she is, or, you know, or how relevant people became. And in the mystery of that, it makes us fall in love with these people. But I'm going to tell you who we forget about. We forget about the people that's right here in our faces. We forget about the people that we wake up to every single day. We forget about the people that matter to us most. We forget about the people that we look over. We forget about the people that we cannot stand their guts. We forget about the people that we say to leave us alone. We forget about the people that we say, I hate you. We forget about the people that done us wrong the most. We forget about these people. We give them no relevance. We give them no stature. They can never be a mystery to us. Never, ever, ever. And I mean it. I'm going to say it again. They could never be a mystery to us in no form of way. Because we see them coming. They're predictable. Okay? They mean no difference. Anything that they think they're bringing to the table, we've already brought bigger and better or more. And we've expected them to not even bring anything to the table at all. Let me explain something to you. I myself have been guilty of what I am speaking to you about right now. Me. I have been guilty of overlooking people that have been right there in my face, right there the whole time, supporting me, right there, the whole time, loving me, right there, the whole time, not going anywhere. But what I've been doing the whole time was pushing these people away. The whole time. By not focusing on myself, by not focusing on the love that they were giving me, by not focusing on the support system that I had, because I was so busy trying to want to be relevant in the wrong way. In the wrong way. That I didn't even acknowledge me and who I was. and the talents and things that I could have brought to the table at that point. I was so busy trying to be relevant that I never gained stature. Oh yeah, you can do that too. You can gain relevance without stature. You can gain relevance without stature. Oh yeah, it can happen. It's scary as fuck, but it can happen. And at that point, what happens is you've gained so much relevance. People know who you are. You're starting to get a little bit of name throughout the city. You know, you might be going around, you know, banging out little clubs, doing this, doing that, mingling with people, little shows here's and there's, people's knowing your name through the media waves, right? But you broke. You broke. You broke. Because I was so busy running around thinking that my talents was the only thing that was bringing things to the table that I didn't worry about the stature part of it. I only worried about being relevant and the relevance of it. And I really didn't even know how to do that too much because I was still young in my education and in my knowledge, that I didn't understand that you needed both at the same time to be able to elevate. I was just thinking that wanting relevance, it was all, and that was end all be all. And that wasn't what it was. That wasn't what I needed. I needed much more than that. Much more than that. Much more than that. And I didn't have anybody in the back of me that was trying to educate me in the sense of teaching me that was wrong and I wasn't supposed to do it that way. I didn't have nobody to show me that. You understand what I'm saying? So it became now me versus me. It became me versus me. So at that point, I was overlooking people that was there trying to educate me from afar because I didn't want to receive that. I didn't feel like they had enough relevance to tell me anything. But they probably had stature that I needed. Stature that I needed to elevate. So because they didn't have relevance, I didn't care about nothing else. I didn't care if they had stature. I just knew that they didn't have relevance. So for me, I just overlooked them. And because of that, these were the people that had stature that could have done so much for me. And in life, I'm speaking about myself because I don't want nobody to feel like I'm targeting them or I'm speaking about them, because it's never about them. It's always about us. We, brothers, sisters, okay? We are in a whole. We're in a whole. We're like one. This is a marriage here. This is a family ship. You're my brother and my sister. You're my king and my queen. We're kings and queens out here, y'all. So our job, our duty is to make sure that we're each one teaching one every single day. So this is never a beatdown session. This is never me trying to whip you or trying to chastise you. This is straight education. This is food for my brother and my sister. That's exactly what this is. It took a long time for me to educate myself, and I'm still educating myself every day. Mysteries of thyself, you know what I mean? The fifth agreement, self-preservation, you know, listen, the 50 laws of power, the 48 laws of power, the 50 laws of power. Those are things that I have, you know, that I read on a daily basis, or at least when I try to, you know, want to educate myself more. And I don't mean read. When I say read, a lot of people think that you get a book, you run through the book, and you read the book. I mean, we can do that. Educate yourself with the book. Want to do your research and your homework on the book so that you can elevate yourself. Don't just read the book. That's like going at a magazine and looking at all the pages and the pictures and not reading who you're even looking at or the relevance of the person that you're looking at. You're just so busy looking at pictures that the relevance at that moment does not matter. So what I did was I overlooked people that was there in my life. And what we tend to do is do that. We tend to overlook people in our lives because we feel like they don't have relevance. and we give other people that relevance as well as that stature when they don't deserve it. And I only mean they don't deserve it because they do not know you. How do you give somebody else so much stature and relevance that you do not know? That is scary. Now, we can respect, we can acknowledge, we can even love. And let's go there. We can even love thy neighbor. There's nothing wrong with loving thy neighbor, okay? And let's say that. There's nothing wrong with having a hero. There's nothing wrong with having respect for anyone, once again. But what I'm telling you is, when you forget to acknowledge the person that's right in front of you, to acknowledge someone that you don't know, that is a problem. Do these people deserve relevance and stature at all? Do you feel like they do? Or do you feel like they don't? And that's something that I want to have people call in on our next topic. I want people to actually be able to call in. I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what your thoughts are and what do you feel? Do you feel like people that have hurt you in the past or in the future, do you feel like they deserve stature? Do you feel like they deserve relevance? You know? And that's real, because I can't answer that. I can't say to you how I want you to feel about someone else. But what I will say is trying to gain that relationship and that acknowledgement toward that situation, so you can gain that stature to be able to acknowledge the person. I think that's important. Making both of you that relevant to acknowledge the situation. Y'all both are that relevant. It doesn't matter the situation. Now, if it's to the point that it's beyond speaking, we all know, walk away. But if it's a situation that you guys are still there, that's what I mean. A lot of people are still there in their situations and they don't acknowledge that person or even want to acknowledge that person or make them relevant enough to acknowledge them at all. And that does hurt. That does hurt. I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of being in a situation and not acknowledging the situation at all because I felt like I didn't have to. I felt like the person didn't deserve it. So yes, for me, it was definitely a downer for me. It was a no for me. But once I learned the education and I learned to know that forgiveness is important. Forgiveness is important. Now, once again, that is solely on the individual. Meaning, I'm not saying for people to actually have to forgive people to make them relevant. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is make them relevant to be able to have the conversation. Make the situation make the conversation relevant enough to have. It's important. If you're still there. If you're not there, then we all know, by all means, move on. And that's inevitable because obviously we wouldn't be having to talk at all anyway. So if you're still speaking, then it's a relevance there. Some type of relevance is still there. Once you don't make the situation relevant, now it's a situation that's like, it's a vanished situation. And a lot of people are in them situations that they're right there in the situation and don't want to acknowledge the situation enough to make it relevant, which it's already relevant anyway. You're just not acknowledging the situation. And that's when it attacks and it affects the relationship, because now, whether it's family, whether it's friend, whether it's, your loved ones, at that point, it's now overexerted because now it becomes forced kindness. It becomes what I won't do to hurt you, or what I might not say to hurt you or affect you, or this might not. When obviously, if you're down for someone and you're down for that person, then at that point or at that moment, you want the best for that person. So even if it affects them in a situation, that's kind of like caring for an elder or caring for someone that's grown to be an elder or an old person in front of your eyes. And now you have to care for them. You have to take care of them. And they're relevant to you still, and enough to make sure that you acknowledging them for doing the same thing for you when you were a child. That's how relevant they've remained in your life, that now you're going to do the same thing for them. They may have been the meanest auntie, the meanest mother, the meanest grandfather, the meanest father. They may have been all of those things, but they've remained relevant mentally here to the point that your brain now manipulated yourself to store that person here in your mind and keep them a part of who you are. And you learn that person, just like I was telling you about learning that song earlier. You learn that song. Yeah. You learn that song. And that's where nowadays it affects so many people, and it makes you feel like you don't have to understand what you need to understand from people. It's like, oh, whatever. You know, and we all do that. We all get to the point where, you know, somebody's saying something to us in our family or our loved one, and it's like, oh, man, whatever. I don't want to hear that, man. You know? And it's like right there at that point or at that moment, you're not making that person relevant. But we can meet our favorite celebrity right now, and it doesn't matter what happened. It doesn't matter what took place. It does not matter what took place with them in their life or anything else. But because they're so relevant, we're going to go to their concert. We're going to go to their show. We're just going to acknowledge them, period, because they have gained that much stature and relevance in our lives that anything they do or say, we can have the acknowledgement enough to acknowledge forgiveness, acceptance, okay, because they have relevance. But the person right in front of your face sits there every day wanting to be relevant, wanting to gain that relevance, but they don't have that from you. You don't give them that. So what they do is tend to look for attention. A lot of people do things to look for attention so that they can gain that. And that is where, at that moment, people don't understand. A lot of people, you know, also commit suicides from that. A lot of people also, you know, have to go see psychiatrists or speak to people because they don't understand why it's like that. You know, that's like having your loved one, you wanting to be a superhero to your loved one, or that dad that's wanting to go out every day and just to impress their children, or wanting their children to look at them or give them that certain respect. I mean, like, shouldn't we just have that certain respect? And to all the dads, big ups or big shout outs to all the dads out there. And fathers, big shout outs to all the fathers out there. Okay? Not dads. We're going to correct that. Fathers. Because there's a difference between dads and fathers. And I think anybody can respect and contest to that. There's a big difference between dads and fathers out there. So what I'm saying is, you know, didn't it feel good when your dad looked at you in a certain way or a certain perspective, or thought of you in a certain way in a certain perspective? And you might not notice. For people that might not know their loved one, you know, such as I do. I don't know my father, but obviously I'm sure I have characteristics or traits like my father, or did things like he did when he was younger. So for that, what I'm saying is that once we're young, we have certain things that we do to manipulate or to mimic our father. And it's like one of the things that we forget is like father, like son. And a lot of times, yes, people say, oh, man, that's far-fetched. Oh, you know, my dad was like this, or my dad was a killer. I'm not a killer. Or my dad sold drugs. I don't sell drugs. And that's not what I mean when I say like father, like son. I mean like the mental spurt of who you are as a person. You might have, you know, quick reflexes, or you might have money-making skills, or you might have, different types of education to where you can actually teach people. You're a great speaker. You know, you're phenomenal. So, I mean, do we have to get big ups for just being a father? Do we have to get big ups for that? I mean, let's be real. Like, we shouldn't have to get big ups for being a father, right? That should just be something that we do inevitably. Like, yes, as fathers, like, just be a father. Like, we shouldn't have to get big ups for like, oh, I'm just this great dad. Like, I mean, that's inevitable. Like, you gotta love your children. You gotta love your loved ones, period. So, like, you know, kudos to all the great fathers out there. Big shout outs to all the great fathers out there, and great mothers out there as well. You know what I mean? But I'm speaking about the fathers because we don't get acknowledged enough, and I'm saying that. I'm just completely putting that flat out, right out there. I hope my channel don't get in trouble for that. But yes, we do not get kudos enough for the great fathers out there. And there's a lot of us that we need some work. And I'll get into that in another topic, because today is about mystery, relevance, and stature. So I'll get into that episode another day, another time. But like I said, we don't need clout for being a great father. Being a great father is inevitable. That's something that has to happen, okay? If you out there and you need some type of help, you know, there's phone calls that you can make, advocates you can call, people that you can just talk to if you feel like you have a lot of weight, because we do. We have a lot of weight on our shoulders from everyday living and trying to impress and be relevant in our lives, in our families' lives, to be this head of this household, to have to bring in this certain type of situation every day. So creating and gaining that stature is what we want. We want to be able to bring in great things into our home so we can provide and be protectors of our home. So we have a lot of weight on us every single day because of wanting that situation to happen. So the first thing that I want to say is, you know, that relevance and that stature is very, very important for the person that's right in front of you. So if you have a loved one at home, you know, looking at that person and valuing that person is very important. Just same way as you value that celebrity. It is very important. I mean, I'm going to say that again. Valuing that person, that loved one that sits in your house, or when you pick up a phone, they pick up a phone. When you acknowledge that person, if you're there still and you're still in a situation, making them relevant in your life is very important. And making sure that you're letting them know that they're relevant in your life, home, in your life. And that is very important because we don't have that enough. And a lot of men go out thriving on the fact of our children when it takes a strong black queen to be right next to you, to bear and go through things just as you do, to be able to know that that's a person that should be relevant just as you are. And I'm going to say that again. It takes a strong black queen, a black queen, to be with a black king, to be able to know that once you both have accomplished that situation and knowing that that's a situation that's for everybody, then you will reach, the both of you will reach that relevance and have that relevance. But for black men, once again, we need that acknowledgement from a lot of our family members, from a lot of our loved ones. We definitely need that. Even our friends, we need that support. We need that support from everyone, because being a black man is very, very, very hard today in society. Yes, we're at an all-time high of black excellence. We are doing amazing. We have a lot of things that we're doing greater than ever before. You know, we've had a black president. We've done great things. You know, we've accomplished great things. So big shout outs to black men. You know what I'm saying? As well as black fathers. But black men, we're doing excellence right now, as you already know. You know what I mean? But back to the drawing board is mystery, relevance, and stature. So making sure that you turn into your loved one and making sure that you're speaking to your loved one that's right there every day and giving them some type of relevance is very, very, very important. And not saying it's going to be easy, not saying that the things that they've done to you or vice versa won't affect it happening. It won't be easy. But as you go and progress over time, things will add up. And giving them that stature and relevance, it starts within your home. And I think everybody can actually contest to that. It would bring a better outlook on society and how we can govern our day-to-day living in society once we have that in abundance and learn that education. And that's looking at each other and making ourselves relevant just as much as we make everybody else relevant in our lives. That's very, very important. So looking at that person, looking at your loved one and telling your loved one at that moment, you know, hey, look, you matter to me. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to do great things. Hey, you know, I have somebody in my life, you know, my queen, that pretty much pushes me every day. You know what I'm saying? And she supports me in a way that it shows me how to support me. And I love that because it's for me, I didn't understand it at first, but as I progressed into maturity, into being a man, I start to see things that she said to me, and it made me want to value those points. And now that I've progressed and educated myself with some things, because I'm not perfect, now that I've progressed though and educated myself with those things, her being relevant was always there, once again, like I said earlier, but I didn't give her the stature that she needed to understand the qualities that she was trying to show me. So big kudos to my baby girl, you know, and to anybody else that got a queen out there that's supporting you and been down for you for day one. Big shout outs to them. Big kudos to them. You know what I'm saying? They deserve that relevance. You make sure you look at them and you tell them thank you. And you love on them because it matters the most, you know? And we need that every day, y'all. We need that relevance and stature towards each other so that we can teach each other, each one teach one, every single day. It's a marriage. Believe me, it's a relationship marriage, a friendship marriage. Once you sign this contract, there's no pulling back, you know? And a lot of people have friends. A lot of people don't have many friends. But the friends that you do have, you tend to keep them and you lock them in. And if you locking them in and they're close friends to you, you know, make sure you're teaching each other the right things, not guiding each other by the wrong things. And that's not what relevance is. Not guiding people by the wrong way is not gaining relevance and stature. And a lot of people have gained stature by teaching people things wrong. And that's wrong. But in the long run, people will begin to educate themselves about what you're saying and what you're doing, and they will know the differences between what's right from wrong, and they will make their own choices in that situation. So right now, you know, understanding that we're better than following trend, now we need to start setting trend. The way that we used to do it, the way that our fathers and mothers and grandmothers and ancestors did it back in the days. So I'm going to erase the fathers and mothers. The way that our great-grandmothers and grandmothers did it back in the days. You know, they set trend and opened doors and created atmospheres for the next person to be able to climb. So it was like, let me climb up there so I can reach down and reach my hand down and be able to pull you up. And then once I can reach my hand down and I can pull you up, you do the same thing for the next person until everybody's at the top because we've all climbed to get there. And it was one person helped the next person get to the top. Not I get to the top and now I have to look down on you and be like, I might have to charge you to get up here because ain't nobody give me the secrets to get up here, when that wasn't true. Everybody had help. Everybody needed some type of relevance as well as stature to get where they are. Somebody, it doesn't matter who that person is. They had a break. They had a chance. They had an opportunity. They had a shot. Everybody has that shot. Everybody gains that relevance. You just have to know when you have it. And when God or the Most High in your life is pretty much giving you that message and that sign. A lot of people don't know that. So mystery, relevance, and stature is like this. If you walked into a door with a celebrity, who do you think would be more important? I'm going to take a few seconds for you to think about that. So I'm going to tell you like this. For me, if I walked into a door with any celebrity, I'm going to be more important than they are. Yes. And I'm going to tell you why. The three words that I just used right now. Mystery, relevance, and stature. Those are the three reasons why I'm going to be more important than them. For that night, they're going to be asking whoever I'm in that attendance with, who's your friend? All night. Especially if I have no type of acknowledgement. No one knows who I am. No one knows that I was coming. Nobody even knows I'm on the guest list. But I attended this event with this celebrity person. Okay? Mystery. That's the first thing. So all night they'll be asking the person that I'm attending the night with, as well as people around the situation. Who's that person? Who's that person? Who's that person? All night. Relevance. Right then and there, at that point, that's what made me relevant. The mystery, once again, as I said earlier, made me relevance. So because of that relevance, at that point, now, obviously, I wouldn't be who I am if I wasn't there in that situation with that person. And that's what, obviously, within that mystery, it created the relevance within people's eyes to dictate me and place me in the situation of excellence. So now I have that relevance. And by the time the night is out, and when I leave out of there from attending that beautiful event with that person, that celebrity, I will have stature. no matter what. People will look at me for, who is that? How was he with that person? Who is that person? How did he get next to that person? How can we find out about this person? Please. And it becomes now, it lies under that mystery. So because of that mystery right there, that's where that lies into. It turns into the mystery. It leaves you relevant and it gains stature. That's what we live off of. Mystery, relevance, and stature. You don't believe me? Do the same thing for your girlfriend or your mother every single year, or vice versa. Do the same thing for your boyfriend or your father or your husband every single year. And see if it's a mystery the next time you try to do it. See if it's a mystery the next time. See if the next time that you try to do it, they won't say to you, oh, babe, are you about to... It actually would become, it's always an acknowledgement because they're going to acknowledge you for doing great things or great or good things for them, right? But did they expect it? Yes. Is it predictable? Yes. Did they expect it again? Yes. Now try to do it to where it becomes a mystery and they don't know when you're going to do it. Now it's a surprise. It's more interesting because they didn't expect it. That's like growth. In being successful, it's unbalanced. No one knows when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen. It just happens. It just happens. Unbalanced gravity. At that moment, gravity, it tends to pull. It pulls you in a way that it's now shifting. And it's unbalanced. It can never be balanced. It's never balanced now. So now you have the elevation. You're rocking the boat. You're rocking the boat to where now you have the elevation and you have the control to control the balance. And it's never balanced now. You want to make sure it's unbalanced though. You have to keep it unbalanced because once it's now balanced, it's an expectance and an acceptance. An expectance and an acceptance. And you don't want that. You want unpredictable. Make yourself relevant today. Make yourself relevant. Look at yourself and tell yourself that you're more relevant than anybody in the world right now because you are. You achieving, you climbing, you reaching the heights of any man or woman can reach. You can do it right now by making yourself relevant. Looking at that person that you probably never ever, and that's like a homeless person that's been on the street for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And we look at them and we see them. We know they're homeless. They might smell, everything else. But it gets to the point where we will accept them. They can walk up to us. Some of them might even come in our house. You know, we might let them take a shower, eat, feed them, sit down on our couch. And the next person might be walking by like, oh my God, what is that? But you like accepted them and then given them that much relevance to where they don't even stink no more. You don't even look at them like that. Because you've given them that much relevance that you've accepted them for who they are. I enjoyed making this video. And for all those that's just now tuning in for the first time, please make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you do subscribe. Make sure you do hit the bell so you can be notified about my lives, about when I do post new notifications. You can be notified. My events, especially my lives. When I go out into the field, I'm always live. And all my streaming is always live. So once again, I appreciate you for being here. You can be anywhere in the world today, but you were here with me, rocking out. Once again, the show is brought to you by Brilliant Media Film, and you're rocking out with your boy Brilliant Azor. Peace.